Well, now I've had a couple of days to reflect on the triathlon. Today's Monday, triathlon was on Saturday, and I took a good amount of time just to relax and chill out yesterday. What I found after the triathlon was that I didn't have much of a appetite. I was thirsty, but I didn't have a lot of appetite, so I was way underfed throughout that entire day. But yesterday I actually took the day to just relax. Actually relax. A lot of walks, a lot of just lounging on the couch, watched a movie, went to bed early, got a ton of sleep last night, which is great. And so now I wanted to talk about what I learned from doing an Ironman 70.3. Having not done a triathlon ever in my life, I've never swam that far in water, 1.2 miles. I've never ridden my bike 56 miles, and I've never actually ran 13.1 miles, and obviously I've never done that all together. So here are the things that I did right. And first of all, I have to think that I had a very athletic base going into this training, or going into this event. Having trained CrossFit for the past 8 years and competed at the CrossFit Games, so I had a significant amount of training leading up to the games just 5 weeks ago. That gives me this solid athletic base. So when it actually came to my aerobic capacity, at any point in this 70-mile race, whether it was swimming or biking uphill or biking on the long flats, or it was running, I was never like gasping for air, never. So it was really nice to be able to breathe calmly just about the entire time. The other thing I did right was slowly and carefully increase my mileage from the CrossFit Games, which finished around the beginning of August, until now, which was September 11th. So I had about 5, almost 6 weeks to build up in mileage. And my primary concern was to not over increase my mileage and create injury. I've talked about how I increased my training and what I did to prepare for the triathlon in another video. So essentially, I created various workouts for me to run long, to increase distance over time, to increase distance and time on the bike, but also mix in some other activities from time to time to break up the monotony of that level of training. But I feel like I safely increased my mileage, which gives me the idea that I probably want to do this again next year after the CrossFit Games. It was a really fun off-season thing for me to do, as opposed to just kind of not doing anything. That's just not my nature. So this gave me something to do. I also felt like I had a lot of mental toughness through this race for myself. The swim was great, but I had to focus clearly on what I was doing in the swim. You know, swimming is a very scary thing for me. I can get really panicked in the water, and when I get panicked, my heart rate goes up, my breathing goes up, and I can't catch my breath. That happened to me at the CrossFit Games this year on a 500-meter swim. Well, this is a 1.2-mile swim. I didn't really want to hold on to a kayak to catch my breath, so I focused so much on slowing down to start this race. Just easy does it on the swim. Let my breathing dictate the swimming stroke and the speed of that stroke. So I just really took it easy and quickly was able to get into a rhythm where I was breathing and swimming, sighting. Every 5th stroke with my right arm, I would sight and then just keep going. There were 5 buoys out, swim across to another set of buoys, and 5 buoys in that gave us a 1.2-mile course. And I could literally just set a goal of, okay, 1 more buoy, 1 more buoy, 1 more buoy. Got past the orange buoys over to the yellow buoys, and then it was on the way in. At that point, I could actually see in the distance the finish line. So I just sighted that yellow arch that I had to go under and felt great in the water. So that was just mental focus. Of course, at certain points, at one point I was like, gosh, this is a really deep lake. Ooh, just focusing on the next buoy. That's all I'm doing. Another time I thought to myself, I heard someone died in this lake of a heart attack during a triathlon. I didn't want to be thinking that, but so, oh God, okay, I'm fine, I'm breathing. So I had to coach myself through that portion of the race and just keep my focus. And then on the bike, the bike was just going. It was 3 hours for me to get through the biking portion, 56 miles, and I just had to focus, tried to focus on what I was doing in the moment. So if I was climbing a hill, I'm focusing on climbing. If I'm coming down a hill, I'm focusing on trying to get as aerodynamic as possible. If I was on a flat, I tried to push it as if I'm on the Concept 2 bike erg. It just felt like that. And then I found myself wanting to pick off people in the distance, like, oh, I'm gonna get that guy, I'm gonna get that guy, I'm gonna get that guy. So I had this mental game that I was able to play as I worked my way through the bike. The last 10 miles of the bike were just awful. So I lost a little bit of concentration and mental fortitude there when I was just dying. It was so uncomfortable. I actually passed someone as I was turning in. We had about a mile left on the bike, and I told her, I was like, man, I would do anything to get off this bike. And she's like, yeah, me too. I'm like, I'd even run 13 miles if I could get off this bike, which was what was next. So switched over to running, And running is where I had the most mental fortitude and internal dialogue. I was really tired. The run was hard. The first lap was about 7 miles. It was a 2-lap course for the run. And as I got through the first lap, I'm like, okay, I feel good. And at each water station, I would hydrate a bit, and I would just like, okay, Jay, let's do this thing. Let's go. I literally was talking out loud to myself at certain points, just to force myself to go. Mile 11, like, okay, Jay, you got this. 2 miles, man. 2 miles, 20 minutes, and we're done. 1 mile left. Okay. We've got like 9 minutes. 9 minutes, we can do this. So I had to use that. And I rarely ever have to talk quite like that to myself, but I was encouraging myself, and I'm gentle with myself when I'm out there. Like a gentle nudge to myself was a really nice feeling to be able to do while I was out there. I also felt like I was able to manage some resiliency while I was out there. One of the things that I do is I generally see things as like success or failure. First place is success, second place is failure. And I don't really want to think that way. I don't want to feel that way in my world. It's too hard of a way of living. One of the phrases that I've been trying to incorporate into my self-talk lately is this phrase: it's just a minor setback. It's just a setback. So there was one part where I was on the swim course. I've got 5 buoys to go out there. I'm past the 3rd buoy, I think, and I'm looking directly into the sun as I'm sighting the next buoys. And I'm basically just trying to stay with a pack of people. If I just follow the people, I'll be fine. So 1, I don't have great eyesight, even with contacts. It's just a thing that is real for me. 2, looking into the sun, it was hard to see these buoys. And so I'm swimming, I take a stroke, I kind of see people swimming, I take a breath, take a look, I don't see anything. But I do see a kayaker that scoots around here, and I kind of glance at her, and she points over there, like, there's the orange buoy. Oh shit, I need to be over there. And in my mind, here's how that could have gone. I could have panicked. I could have tried to get on course really fast, like just swim hard and get on course. Instead, I told myself, like, hey, nice and easy, right back on course, no big deal, just a setback. And that was great. I could stay nice and calm that way. So that was a phrase that I incorporated. The last thing I feel like I did right was I did pick up a triathlon watch, or a Garmin watch. I've resisted like athlete watches. They're kind of expensive and they're a little clunky. Particularly the Garmin's they're straight up clunky. The interface isn't great. I've figured it out. But it was really, really nice to be able to look down at my heart rate in particular and my distance. So I knew where I was at on the bike. I knew where I was at on the run. That was really nice to have that on my wrist. And to look down at my heart rate and be able to manage that a bit. Thinking about in particular on the run, it helped me not get a little over aggressive on the run. I knew kind of where I wanted my heart rate to be on that run. Like the high 130s to the mid 140s on the run was totally fine for me. And I knew that was sustainable. So that's just kind of where I lived. I could just see my heart rate on my wrist. I know that's silly, and you can do that with lots of watches, but for me, that really helped me with focus as well. Like if I started going too fast, or if I was climbing a hill and I was getting a little strenuous, I could just dial it down a smidge to bring that heart rate down, because I knew I had a long journey to go. Now, with like 4 miles to go at the end, heart rate just hung around like 150, 152, got kind of uncomfortable, and there was nothing I could do. I was just dying, that's all.